Hey guys, how's it going? Ghosty Rich here today, and today I'm going to be showing you how to install that Mishimoto radiator right there. The part number is MMRAD C714. And if we back up, it's going in the project car. Do is pop your hood. Next thing you should do is drop your windows. After you drop your windows, this is important because, of course, all electronic. After you do that, things that you should know. This is how you open your door. You need to know that, so that way you know how to open it if you need to get into your vehicle later, because none of your electronics are going to work. Other thing you need to know. Over here, we're going to be disconnecting the battery over here, but there is a key spot right here, so you can open your trunk afterwards. So just keep a note that on your fob, you can separate it into a key and you can open it if you need to. And last but not least, all electronic things like a battery tender are disconnected because you don't want it to be feeding the system with power after you disconnect the battery. And from here, disconnect your negative and then make sure you wrap it up, do whatever you want to do, but make sure it does not get reconnected. 10 mil, loosen it, take it off. We might as well start taking out this stuff first. So loosen, these shouldn't fall out. Just go ahead, take off all, what is that, 5 or 6 of the bolts, 6 bolts here, squeeze, and remove the plastic. Oh, take this, pop it back, you just pull it, squeeze, slide that out. After that's out of the way, 8 mil, go ahead, get on these guys, loosen it off. And then you should have one more right here. There we go. Go ahead, pop this part out, just like that, and this out. They should both come out together. Ish. There we go. One last piece. Next, let's pop this hood out of here. So right here we got some 13s on your hood, as you can see. So loosen and take out your 13 mils on your hood right here. What that's going to allow you to do is slide your hood off. So make sure you have some blankets somewhere, and I would suggest lying it with the finish up and away from anywhere someone might step on it, because if they step once on that hood, you will cry for years. All right, so we're doing what I call the pull the pin method, which is loosen all the bolts, then leave 2 in, just like 3 or 4 threads. You and a friend, don't do this yourself, please, is grab a side of the hood each, unscrew, and then when you have them both out, you can lift and take it out. So that way it's the safest method. After you do that, like I said, just have a place for this to land, and I would lie it down this end on the floor or on a blanket. So from right here, go ahead and let's loosen our intake off. So the best way to do that is just make sure this on reverse, pop it forward, both sides of here. Sure this is popped up. You wiggle this a little bit, should come loose. There we go. It just, there's a little ball catch right here, little rubber. So once it goes in through there, you just kind of slip this forward and we should be able to just wiggle this out of here. Watch out, this is a coolant line. Don't make the splooshy sploosh. You can squeeze and unplug your rad fan. Again, you just have to squeeze it, and it might have a red. Nope, it just slips out and it just looks like that. Funny note, if you pull out a Dodge Pentastar fan, it is the same clip, but it will not operate the fan. Why, you might ask? Because they speak 2 different kinds of CAN bus. The more you know. Use the Christmas tree popper, just get it in here, and just keep working these out until they are free. After you do that, there's one clip over here, same thing. Slide this down here, and just get a little bit of a groove in there, just like that, and pop it out as well. After these are free, perfect. We're gonna free those 2. We're gonna go ahead and take out 10 mil here and the 10 mil here so we can slide our fan out of the way. So right here, make sure you're on reverse. Go ahead, throw a 10 mil on here and loosen that bolt off. Make sure you don't loosen your little bolt and lose it. Put it off to the side, go to the next one. So when you're popping this out, as long as you've pulled the bolt out of here, the bolt out of here, you should be able to just grab this, and it should just be on a couple hooks down there, and you get to just work it around the lines down here to here. Even though this is a me thing, not too many people have this, I like to lift my car a little bit first with a motorcycle jack, and then just watch your side splitter here. Make sure you use jack pucks. If you have never seen one before, well, they just literally, they're a little hockey puck with a little thing on here. You slip it in and you turn it sideways and it locks in. We're gonna lift the car a little bit here with this, so that way I can fit the jack under here. Now, if you're gonna be removing your wheels later on, I have a impact driver that I use to remove my rims, so I don't have to worry about loosening them off right now. But since if you don't have an impact driver that's gonna be able to break the wheels loose, and you're gonna have to use a ratchet, it'd be a good idea to loosen, don't take them out, just crack loose the lug nuts on your tires, so that way if you need to remove the wheels you can. But if you don't, just make sure you put tape or a reminder somewhere, because if you forget to tighten those up and you go for your first ride, you'll end up in the dirt. All right, let's remove a couple parts. First thing, drop all the 10 mils off of here, these 4 right here, and drop those 3. That plastic piece will be free, and then we're going to take all the 8s out right here, so that way we can take this piece of plastic out right here. Makes it easier to look up into the engine bay, and also gets rid of this so you quit rubbing it. Next, put a bucket underneath that, the best you can, centered under that support. There is a peacock valve or petcock valve, whatever you want to call it. Makes magical flying colors, and you grab it with your hands and you twist it. As you can see, we're currently twisting it. Once it's open, we'll be able to show you. And as much as you only want to crack it open a little bit, you'll always end up cracking it open all the way. Look at that. It actually goes through the main support and down. That's pretty cool. So it only goes down into one spot, unlike some where you open it up and it just splooshes all over, right, Tariq? Yeah. That's annoying. So just leave it. Let it drain. And if you want to, you can burp the hose a little bit. Go ahead, put the plug back inside on your radiator petcock valve. Wiggle. If she's been there for a while, you gotta make her dance. Wiggle her down. If you want, so they're not dripping on, actually no, we're gonna have to do one at a time because the other one's at a weird angle. So from here, we'll see how seized is this hose. Oh. Well then, she's a fool. Oh yeah, she's a fool. So get her connector out of the way. Tuck it in over here. Doesn't matter. As long as she's out of the way and listening to us, which she never does. Then straight down. And leave it tucked in down there. Let it drip. Do the next, right to this one. Now that we can reach it a little better, around here. Squeeze, wiggle, and pull and drain. All right, so to remove and replace this radiator, move that clip right there. And of course, I've already got that clip out up there. And since our rad's empty, we might have a little fluid. We shouldn't have much though. That can go right here. And this one can go off to the side here. I like to do this so I know which side they came out of. From there, you also have this little guy here from which you can hook pick that little center pin out. Now for me, see how mine's loose? It's because, well, it's because the oil cooler isn't there anymore. And on the new rad, I'm gonna be putting a plug on there. So other than that, like I said, hook pick right there. If you want to remove it, pull that clip out, and that way you can slip it out and off the O-ring. This one's a little bit more tricky. So if you look right here, let's see how it's got 2 little feet? You have to squeeze those 2 in so you can release it. So go grab yourself your hook pick again, press it in, and you want to pull this forward. Be careful, it's easy to break these ones. As you can see, if you press those 2 feet, this just loosens, and then you wiggle and pop it off, and there'll probably be a little fluid. Oh no, but see, like I said, I actually was able to press the one side, pick it out with my nail, and then press the other and pick it out with my nail. Yeah, no, my nails are disgusting. Now that we've done that, rad's free, and then we've only got, I think, a couple bolts here. I think it's just this one and that one on isolators. Take your fingers, flex the plastic up all the way around, and we'll start working out your radiator and AC. Your AC is going to have some pressure on it. It does have rubber connecting hoses. Just be careful. You can put a little bit of pressure, you just don't want to put too much. From there, check out this squeeze clip. you just squeeze it and lift a little bit. Well, putting pressure up on this one, you can go ahead and squeeze this one. It's best to make sure both clips have been retracted a little bit first, because if not, it can make this process a little bit more fun. So, compress, might have to get me a little lifting bar right here. Come on. There. So take a look at this. You compress right there. That's up and out. Right here, you'll see a lift tab. Lift it and pop this off. Put the connector off to the side. You need that little bit of space for when we slide this out. And again, just over here, compress. As you're compressing, you can grab the side a little bit. There, see? And then we do the same over here. This side's a little bit trickier, there. After we do that, the condenser is basically just free. Perfect. Now we can lift our radiator up and out of the way. And apparently pour coolant everywhere. So, now look at the difference. That is a Mishimoto radiator, and this is the factory radiator. What a difference, eh? That's crazy. Now we're gonna grab our vacuum and vacuum out everything in here. Let's get that all cleaned up so that way we don't have to be putting this into a dirty spot. First thing you want to do is pry these out. These right here are your isolators. You need these for the new one. You also need, I'll get that one in a sec, these little rubber feet. So go ahead and you can use a pry tool, whatever you want, and just pop these off. They can be a little fun. Oh, especially since I know there's still a tiny bit of coolant in here. I'm trying not to get it on myself. So just pop those back on here. Those ones go on the feet, these ones go on the side. You can't really mess it up. Another reason why I love Mishimoto. Take a look at the craftsmanship. Put this on here, all their welds look great. Mishimoto on the side. We have one AC piece. The other two are probably brackets, which are gonna fit on right here. We'll take a look at those in a second. But what I would suggest you do is you can now grab it by right here, pop it out of the bag, and just put it back on top of the bag. Put it on the hook side again. And what we're gonna do is slide in those isolators. So, if you want to, you can lube these up. You can spit on it, you could do whatever you wanna do, but they just slide on just like that. Trick for you, grab the center pin. Pop it out, just like that. And then put it back in like so. And then this end goes towards the bolt. So our bolts were going from this side. We can do this. And then when we put the bolt through, it's going to rest on here and hold this in. So you always can tell with Mishimoto they use good hardware. They have these little mini screws. Keep all extra ones because I'll tell you, every time I get these, I save them and I always end up using the screws. Anyways, you can see they've got the, what do they call them? Catch? Flare, whatever. They have this little extra edge on here. So it actually grips the metal. So you can see I have that piece right there. I always suggest a little bit, because it's metal on metal, a little bit of blue Loctite, because if it rattles loose, then you get pull Humpty Dumpty apart again. So just thread these in here. And we'll thread one more in there. Don't use the washers on these ones. They're meant to catch the metal. If we had it going to another surface, then yeah, you could use washers. I don't bother in this case because they've got those grabbers there. And if you use a washer, it's not going to grab right onto the piece of metal you don't want to move. All right. All we're going to do, set this to even 106 inch-pounds. You don't even have to tell you the truth, but I'm going to do it because I'm so used to doing it. 106 inch-pounds. And again, these are 10 mil bolts. There we go. And look at that. We've now got a holder on here. Now the other two are a little different. Remember how they were those press and releases? Well, if you actually look at your AC condenser, they have a holder on them that has bolts. So we're actually gonna use these. They're gonna go once again on here, and then these will fold around and they'll bolt to your AC. Or what you can do right now is bolt these onto the AC, because what's gonna happen is after this bolts through, this will fold down. This I'd put at about 9 to 10 foot-pounds. Make sure you do this before putting it in. If you don't tighten this up, yeah. Look at that, it says I put it to 12, whatever. Like I said, just make sure it's nice and tight. It is aluminum, you don't want to strip it. Now that we've got that in there, we can slip our radiator in. As we're sliding it in, we'll line up the AC condenser. Take out the top bolt. From there, see? So that hook that we just put on the floor, that I put 2 in, only put 1 in. Once you get 1 in, you can use this kind of, so it swings up. After you swing it on, put in the next bolt and torque that back down. You might have to use a box wrench just because we don't want to damage that sensor or have any chances of damaging that AC sensor. And whatever you do, after you finish this, don't forget to plug it back in. At least, out of all things, I'm actually surprised. Everything on this vehicle seems to have a safety click, and this one doesn't actually have it. I think it's because of how the switch works, but I was quite shocked that, yeah, it doesn't have that same safety they put on absolutely every one of them. So again, just get it tight. And then I'll show you how to do the tops. Now the tops we can torque down to spec. These anyway, they're just gonna be right here. And there's no way you're gonna get a torque wrench in on that one. This one's gonna be little movements. There we go. Okay, that's what the Loctite's for. And then this one, I'm gonna just make sure. There we go. Right there. Perfect. Now that we know that we've got Loctite on there and we've got those locking heads on the screws, that ain't going anywhere. Okay, now we need these 2 little metal plates. What you do is, again, we're gonna pre-Loctite these, but check this out. I was looking at this, wondering what their theory was behind these. And what they do is they just slide over top of the AC part, just like that, and then lock in here. So there is absolutely no way your AC condenser can fall out. Use your chin to hold up your hood. And there we go. And that one's too loose. Perfect. If you want, go back through and check them all. Now that we've got that, that'll lock it in. You only need the one. The other side, if you take a look here, it doesn't come out far enough for me to feel comfortable trying to make or bend a bracket in there, but you really don't need it. There's no way your AC condenser gets away from this because it's full locking. It's not like it's just a hook. So just have the 2 hooks, the one that's welded, you add in yours over there, and you literally just do this and you're fine. We're good. Take a look at that radiator. That's insane. It's about the same dimensions on the perimeter, but the actual width, oh man, I already got rid of the other one. It's out there. It's thicker. So that should definitely help. Okay. Go again, just bend your plastic around. Look at that. Doesn't that look good? And then go ahead, put your 10 mil bolts back in, or I can't remember if those are 10 or 13. Anyways, just get those guys, put them in, let's bolt them in. This is the improved racing part. Slip it on right here. And then we put this piece on over top. We might have to loosen this worm gear a bit, but all that happens is worm gear goes on here and make sure it doesn't come off. And that's all there is to that piece. Right here, go ahead, take your first pipe, squeeze it on. Don't put these into your radiator, whatever you do by accident. Just slide that on. I would go ahead and put that clip on right now, and same with this one. That way you have easy access. Then we'll do the second one, and again, you'll have access. When you're doing these clamps, just remember, if you look really closely, you'll see the embedded symbols of the clamps. That's where you want them. If you don't put them in the same, they could leak, some say, but if you want to, move it around. I'm just saying, look if you want for the indents and match them on the clamp. That way it seals in the exact same position. That one's on there. This one comes on right here. Look at that, nice and clean. I always wish I could find a proper product to make these pipes look black again. And I know that even if I buy new ones, it doesn't matter. They're gonna just get dirty again. So either way, now that we've got that, we know this is gonna come up here, but it goes on the fan shroud. I just wanna make sure it's easily accessible. Go ahead and put these back on, and then we'll twist this back over and put this piece back on. Last piece of coolant. Come over here, slide the last one off of here. If you want, inspect your O-ring in here. It should be fine, as long as you didn't do anything crazy with it. And this goes here, this goes here. So slide that in. Slide that in. Don't forget to lock it in by pushing that blue tab back in, and move the last crush clip back up here. Go ahead, move the pipes and hoses around just a little bit and just work it around everything. It's not too hard, just patience, because of course it's gonna catch on a few things. If you want to, you can even just quickly pop this in, so that way you don't have to worry. Now that we've done that, there's the spot down over here for your wiring harness to click into. Just do that and resync in that. Does it have a safety? No, this one just clips in. Sweet. Next thing, Loctite. Press down, put the screws in. If you wanted to, these ones you could put some bigger washers on because they might try to pull through that plastic. But just remember, the Loctite, and then just cinch them up. You know what? I'm not going to 106 inch-pounds with this. No, that's more than tight enough for what we're doing. And the plastic, or those grip nuts that are on the top, or the grip heads, is gonna make sure it doesn't back out anyway. So you got Loctite and you've got the grip nuts. So even though I'm using a torque wrench on this, I would just cinch them down until they're nice and tight and call it a day. There we go. Look at that. When you're coming in to do this, just bring it in at this angle. So up and then in. Then this is right here. Go ahead, thread in your screws. And again, these are just little 10 mils. Nothing too crazy. They go into the riv nuts. Just tighten them down with a driver. No real torque spec because it's nothing too structural. Simple as that. Do that one there and this one here. If you look, it comes on like an angle. Put the angle down, so the streamer side, that little stream side down. just, you'll notice that one way, it'll fit a little bit nicer into there. So you just line it up and wiggle, and yeah, one side or one way, it'll sit really flush, and the other way, it won't for your air filter. Easiest way, if you look in here, you'll see that there's that little lip that's all the way around. Line the rubber up with the lip and then slowly bring it in and lock it into place. You just slide and then put those teeth into that bottom piece and flip up, and your screws will line up perfect. If you try to put the rubber all the way in first, it won't line up. Make sure the screws are lined up. You don't want to just start self-tapping them into the plastic. And get them both started evenly. I like to get this one in a little bit, and then now get this one in. Yep, it's in the hole, which you can see through here. And now we just tighten these down. And again, just bring this in. Do not put any insane torque on this, because it is just going into plastic and you will strip it. Just like that. Bring it in as evenly as possible. There. You'll feel it cap out. And whatever you do, no Loctite. I don't think I have to tell you that, but I'm still going to say it anyway. If you use Loctite, it's a bad, bad day. Well, might have to reconfigure those a little bit so that sits back in the groove. I am not reusing this piece, so make sure that you put that clamp back on and that clamp back on. Pretty easy. Just squeeze it back over the throttle body, that one back over the air box, and then seat your PCV valve system right there. That's kind of like an air vent that goes straight to your dry sump system or your valve cover, depending on the C7 you have. But you would have seen that we disconnected that. So simply tighten the two clamps up. Just don't go too crazy. You don't want to crack the plastic. That's about it. All right, I've poured half this water jug out into here. The thing is, it only comes up to here. We actually want a little bit more than just 50-50 if you want. Again, Corvette or GM, whatever you want to say, they recommend a 60-40 mix. If you're not driving in winter, I can't see it being a big deal. But again, it's probably also for if you're on the racetrack a lot, so that way you can keep your temps down. I will let you mix to what ratio you would like. As long as you're between 50-50 and 60-40, I'd say you're golden. For this, all you do is keep filling and filling slowly. As you'll see, it'll be full and then it'll go down, because it'll go down here and start filling up your radiator and everything else. So just keep pouring slowly and filling it back up. Leave it for a little bit. Fill it back up, leave it for a little bit, and it's going to slowly go through. When we're done, we'll top it off once we start the car. Pretty easy. Once you've thrown the fluid in there, start your car. I'm not starting mine right now because I have a bunch of tuning to do and it would sound a little awful for you. But this is what you'll do. You'll start your car and air will be pushed out by your water pump, and all you simply need to do is continuously top up your reservoir, and once it hits operating temp, drive it around and then top it up as you see fit. It's actually quite an easy system, as it's a self-bleeding system. So like I said, top it up, go from there. If you're curious on this radiator, if this is, well, a couple years from now, cool thing is you'll be able to see some track performance and stuff on this, and I will mention if it's not going to be adequate for cooling. But to tell you the truth, I've never had a Mishimoto product let me down, and I don't see this one doing it either. It's really good build quality. And again, thank you, Mishimoto. Thanks again for watching. Press like if it helped you out. And of course, subscribe for more.